Welcome back to Lorehammer. I misclicked the button. Now I'm all flustered. Oh, we made it. Okay, welcome back to Lorehammer. I'm your host, Mark. Tonight is going to be a fun episode. We got the year of rage ahead of us. We're just going to focus on Angron all year this year. And just see how mad we can really get. GW already pisses me off, so I feel like we just go with it. Joining Court, how angry are you?
I was pretty fucking angry before we started this, just at technology. Hence my name tonight in StreamYard is Destroyer of Technology. But I'm good now. I'm seeing you guys like this is my version of the relief of Butcher's Nails, is to see Gerald's beautiful face, to see you, Mark, and I've missed both of you so much. So yeah, I was nearly punched my computer before we started because something wasn't working. But I'm
glad you're refrained so you could join us. That is the worst when you call it and it's just cracked screens and you have to like try to look around the black spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we got Gerald too. Like honestly, I don't think you can be on this episode. I don't know how you made the cut. You're not. Are you angry? Have you been angry before?
Oh, I've been angry. Go onto my podcast anytime. Anytime a certain toasty shows up, I just lose it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can get a little bit of that fire out of you on this episode. Like I said, we're doing Angron. I mentioned this episode to my wife, and it's funny. The 40K naming conventions are just out of control because she's like, "So you're doing an Angry Ron episode today or something?" And just like,
why does she sound like she's like an 80-year-old woman?
You know,
you got that Angry Ronald there, Mark.
Hey, listen, I'm not good at impersonations. I just know what she said, okay? But yeah, we got Angron, the angriest of them all this episode. Of all the characters, like, it's not subtle, but it's one of the best written characters in 40K. Lots of people think that too. One of the most believable Primarchs. So even though you just fucking rage and smash tables and that's all you want to do as a World Leaders player, like, great lore. So can't wait to get into it. We'll do some quick housekeeping first. Come join the Discord. There's links wherever you need them to be in descriptions below. Discord's pretty fun. If you don't know what that is, it's just like a chat room, essentially, a little chat app thing. You can go on there, post pictures of what you're working on, show video games of what you're playing, whatever you're up to.
Great community, super supportive too. Like, it's solid. But so yeah, Patreon. If you know what this is about, if you like us, if you like what we're doing here and you want to give Mark a financial hug, join the Imperial Tithe. Or even like a financial little butt tap, like, hey, here you go. You're doing good, buddy. Join the Imperial Tithe, support the show. And for $2.50 a month, you get rid of all ads. One thing that makes me so fucking angry, truly, is ads. I'm so freaking tired of seeing quote unquote movie stars chill out, just shove all the shit in my face that I don't need. And I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I'm
going to drop in like 5 ad spots right here. Just like couple intro ads, then 2 minutes in, 10 more ad spots, and then it goes back on to. So give us some money so you don't have to listen to that.
Yeah. That will make me chuck my phone out the window of my car as I'm driving to work.
Yeah. Oh, I fucking hate ads. So $2.50 a month, ad-free versions of every episode. $5 a month, video versions. You get to see us here and more. There's more. Gerald, what do they get?
Just join the live stream. Join the Patreon for $5 a month. You get to come in and just see our lovely faces. I don't know about my face, but anyways, you get to hang out and talk with us. And if time allows, hey, we get a call-in guest and all that good stuff. And as far as tonight, all I have to say for you, dear listeners and commenters, let the hate flow through you.
Yeah. Angry Ron, Angron. Yeah, the most not subtle but pretty deep and well-written character. He's had a couple iterations over the years. Let me pull up a picture of my favorite iteration of Angron before we get into too far. Angron. Okay, for those watching the live stream, this is my favorite Angron. He's just basically your classic red demon This is like the old, like epic model.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Like, so he's had versions like this where he's just like your classic red angel of hate and violence. But you know, he does get some fun little upgrades over the years. He got one upgrade over the last like 5 year kind of span that really caught me off guard, and I'm excited to fucking rant about it, honestly.
Yeah, he really
I
just
don't know
looks
if I
like a
can.
very typical demon.
Yeah, oh yeah, like especially like his updated model too. So like really brings that out. And since we're talking about a Primarch in true Gerald fashion, I don't know if the screen can see it.
Let me close this one and
There we go.
Oh,
you
I
got
can
an
kind of
Angron.
see it.
So
Oh,
you just
shit.
you're not at home right now, that's why. So you just got
Yeah.
pictures for us.
I don't have access to the mini, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I can post them to the Discord for people to see them better.
Yeah, nice. Angron's pretty wild. He might be the Primarch with the most minis. He's got like the old one, he's got his normal version, he's got like the half, and then he's got like the full Demon Prince. But you know, with a name like Angron, I feel like we're not spoiling too much by saying he falls to the god of violence and war and blood. You know, so you kind of get it. But yeah, maybe let's get into this episode and kind of see what he's all about.
Yeah.
What's all the ranting and raving about?
So, yeah, Angron. No hiding his nature, I would say. But Angron is known in bitter legend as the Red Angel, as we certainly saw in the original mini. He looks like a red demon. So, known in bitter legend as the Red Angel, born Angronius of Nuceria, and once hailed as the quote Lord of the Red Sands, was the Primarch of the World Eaters, a legion damned by his fury and forged in endless slaughter. He was the most violently blood-soaked of all the Primarchs, a creature of wrath barely leashed by loyalty. When Horus raised the banner of rebellion, Angron answered without hesitation. He basically just shot his hand up and said, "I've been waiting."
Yeah.
Driven by an undying hatred for the emperor who had torn him from Nuceria and abandoned his fellow gladiators to die screaming in the dust, which we'll get to. He did not follow Horus out of ideology or ambition, for Angron's only true master was the rage gnawing at his soul and the ceaseless hunger for blood that ruled his every breath.
Yeah, like anger management courses would have helped this guy for sure. Maybe. Nope, not going with it. Okay, well, yeah, he kind of just wants war, even from the get go. Like the Primarchs go to the planets and then they kind of like really become whatever planet they land on. So when they fall on like war planets, he just wants that war and the violence, man. Very good at it too.
Yeah.
So, the descent of the Red Angel. Entombed within the blackest vaults of the Library Sanctus on Terra lies a forbidden volume named the Liber Malum. Its gore-dark pages screaming of souls damned by blood and choice. To utter its title is to invite rage, grief, and the edge of madness alike. Countless heretics and warlords and butchers defile its pages with their crimes, yet none are carved so deeply into its hateful script as Angron, the Red Angel, Primarch of the Worlds. His legend is fractured, torn apart like flesh beneath chain blades, and what remains is blurred by violence, silence, and deliberate lies. Much of Angron's existence as a demon Primarch is absent from imperial truth. When the Primarch gestation pods were scattered from the Emperor's hidden gene vaults beneath the Himalayan mountains, Angron was hurled screaming through the warp, torn from his creator, and cast onto a distant, so-called civilized human world. How in the name of the world that broke him were erased from record. Whether that planet still exists or ever did is unknown. Imperial scholars suspect this knowledge was not lost but buried, sealed by the Emperor's own decree and those who feared the truth. That truth is one of chains, slaughter, and despair. Angron was raised in agony, forged in arenas of death, and driven to revolt by cruel masters. Betrayed by fate and the ruinous powers alike, he was cast upon Nuceria, its location uncertain, its scars eternal, where his fury was born and his tragedy made inevitable.
Yeah, very a well-kept secret, really. I was even trying to like learn more about Nuceria, and there really wasn't that much information on it, like because it kind of see what happens. But yeah, when you dive into Angron, there isn't a whole lot of information, especially if you're like from the Imperial perspective. You get this demon vibe that so you're not really allowed to talk about them. So they're like purging it even more so than like a lot of the other Primarchs, because I don't know, Portarabo, did he really go Demon Prince? Yeah, he does eventually. Does the Imperium know that? Do they classify it? Who knows? But like Angron is like a chosen favorite of Khorne. Like you don't talk his name. He's the Voldemort. He's the boogeyman.
Yeah. And a tragic story. I think Gerald, you said tragedy made inevitable. I think tragedy is a good word kind of here. It's one I feel like is not super obvious with Angron, just because anger is an emotion that's kind of tough to empathize with at times. But as we'll kind of uncover throughout the night, like his story is pretty tragic. And I would say that most of the fallen Primarchs are, but in this, without teasing too much, like I think tragedy is a good term for his story.
Let's phrase it like this, Court. Jax actually put up a poll in the Discord asking which of the traitor Primarchs is the most tragic backstory.
Ooh.
I invite you listeners to listen to this and then before making your final decision.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Good poll. Good idea, Jax. High five to you.
Yeah, it just seems. Yeah, we'll get into it. It just seems believable and like, okay, I can follow the logic of this. When we talk about Portarabo, like you're like, just dude, fucking grow up. Like, come on. You're this like genetically made super soldier and you're whiny. Like, come on. I need a little more from you. But yeah, let's talk about Nuceria. Before the coming of Angron, Nuceria was a world steeped in cruelty, masquerading as order. Once a human civilization of high culture and technological attainment during the dark age of technology, it had fallen into decay and tyranny after the Old Night. By the time the Great Crusade, Nuceria was ruled by a decadent aristocracy. Wow, fucking words tonight. I love it. Of the High Riders who lived in the opulence atop fortified city-states, sustained by advanced but jealously hoarded technology. Beneath them existed a vast underclass of slaves, criminals, and the conquered, whose lives were deemed expendable. Among these wretches arose the gladiator pits, arenas of ritualized butchery where enslaved warriors were implanted with neural torment devices and forced to fight and die for the amusement and political theater of their masters. Strength, suffering, and spectacle defined Nucerian society. Mercy was a weakness. Rebellion was crushed, and blood was a currency long before the Red Angel ever drew his first breath on the Red Sands. I kind of had two images in my mind of what is this place? Is this place kind of more like Rome, which is kind of the obvious comparison, or is it kind of more like Cormorant? And I would kind of say like the difference, and then maybe you guys can think what this place kind of is more like. Like Cormorant functions on suffering. That is the point of it. Where Rome, it wasn't the point. It was kind of more like entertainment. It was a little different.
Comra is interesting because it is so torment driven, and where here I think it's like Nuceria is a bit more, I would say, a bit more leaning on the Roman side. Like Rome was so war based, like everything societal, everything class wise, everything. I mean, so much of it just revolved around strength and your ability to take, to conquer, to control, and then how do you implement that? So I think sometimes too often we associate Gilliman with kind of this Roman vibe, which is there for sure. And
yeah,
but like the war vibe, like the actual like horrific kind of like slaughter of Nuceria, I think outweighs a little bit any other planet in the Roman kind of feel. Obviously, we have the gladiator pits, and we have that similar kind of thing with Camera. But Camera feels much more dark and outlaw-ish, like less.
Like there's an order in Nuceria. Like
Yeah,
there is a order, and like they are all together. Like they're on the same side essentially, as long as you're not one of the slaves, obviously. Where I guess the same can't be said for Komara.
I think it's a good argument to make, or a good kind of parallel for sure. But I just, I don't
always
know.
view Camara as more like your very typical like over the top pirate port.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I would totally agree with that.
All sorts of debauchery or whatnot can entail because like of his, with his lawlessness. I definitely agree with Court about the Roman comparison, especially with like the gladiatorial stuff, but and even the comparison with Gilliman also invoking like that more noble side of Rome, and then Angron and the World Eaters and Nuceria and enabling that that more bloodthirsty side. But I'm also getting a lot of like a Spartan vibes too, because of how brutal and war focused they are in comparison to the rest of Greek society, ancient Greece.
Yeah, I just see those leather tassels things, those petulators or whatever the fuck they're called. And I think, Rome, but I guess Greeks wear them too, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's the I mean, Angron is is kind of an overblown version of anger, single-mindedness, and just rage, whereas his planet's kind of that same way too. It's just like a culmination of like their entertainment isn't theater, it's the theater of war. Like it is strength and death and killing and who can do it the best.
Mm-hmm. And when you include like that in most artworks of like Angron with that red tattoo on his face, almost makes me think, almost gives me Kratos vibes from God of War.
For sure.
Damon says in the chat, did anyone see this HBO Spartacus show? That type of slave pitting is what I'm picturing. Yeah, that was a fun show for sure. Yeah, that's probably very similar, except you toss in chain swords and a little more like lack of respect for life, if that's even possible. But they figure out how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into a little bit more detail here. So, Carpinus Speculum Historiale is a word, describes Angron's birth world as a place of gleaming machines and rotten souls, technologically ascendant, yet ruled by a bloated aristocracy that wallowed in excess while the masses rotted in filth beneath their palace walls. The city slums choked with hunger and rage, penned in the shadows of marbled villas and fortified estates. Okay, so we have a very distinct class separation here. So we have the bloated aristocracy, and then you basically have upper class and lower class. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is divided for sure.
And there's no cross in between the two either.
No, it's pretty much the powerful and the powerless. Yeah. So to keep the starving populace docile, the oligarchs of Nuceria fed them blood. Vast arenas thundered with cheers, and cybernetically mutated gladiators were driven to butcher one another, their suffering offered up as a spectacle to sate the crowd's despair and fury. It was upon this world that Angron was found, though the truth of how he came to be there had been shattered, lost amid screams and lies. Angron was discovered by a slaver who stumbled upon a scene of carnage high in the northern Deshelika mountains. Third time, baby. We got it. A broken, bleeding child standing alone amidst heaps of alien dead. History refuses to name the species, yet many imperial savants believe them Eldari. Slain in a doomed attempt to prevent the horror Angron would one day unleash upon the galaxy. Though grievously wounded, the child yet lived, too furious to die. Too fast, too furious, baby. There he is. Chained and claimed as property by the planet's masters, the cruel High Riders, Angron was dragged to Palace Praxica, the throne seat of Deshea and heart of the Rexium Dominion. There, he was sold like livestock to House Thalkir, his fate sealed by coin and cruelty. Still barely more than a terrified child, Angron was hurled into an arena pit with hundreds of other slaves, all crowded atop a single ziggurat rising from burning acid. As the crowd howled, he was forced to kill every soul around him to remain standing. When the last body fell, Angron shed his final tear and was named a rising star of Deshea's slaughter pits. Talent. Boys got talent.
Yeah, they got some fun fighting pits too. You know, like the Colosseum, how they have like whole naval battles in there. These guys have acid pits rising up and like, oh yeah.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
I mean, high technology. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, bro wasn't even out of his capsule pod when he landed on Nuceria. He was already coming out swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a weird little bit there with the Eldar. It'd be interesting to read the book with that in there and see like how deep, how important was that even? It just seemed like a throwaway when I was kind of reading even Reddit people talking about it, you know. But maybe somebody knows some. Yeah, it's all right. Like it doesn't hurt anything. The Eldar are like, fine, let's go get them. Yeah, I guess he does become one of like the 4 big gods of, or not like 4 big chaos champions. So sure.
I don't want it answered though. Like I like the idea that it's again just one of those little GW things. Like, oh, it might have been.
We know they went after Fulgrim too.
Oh yeah,
and Fulgrim like smothered the Avatar with his bare hands. So you know we do know that they were going after some of the Primarchs when they could find them.
Mm-hmm.
Just an excuse for GW to dunk on the Eldar. Hey.
Yeah, really. Yeah. What's a big bad that everyone knows that they can just kill with a vengeance? Avatars of Cain every time, or Carnifexes are great too.
Yeah.
So let's learn more about the red sands of Nuceria. Sensing the ferocity coiled within the youth, the greatest arena of the capital purchased him as one might claim a prized beast. The Primarch was given a name not his own, Angron Thalkir, Child of the Mountain, and his shattered body was dragged back from death so it could be broken again for sport. Bro just can't catch a break. He grew with terrifying speed, his frame swelling into something monstrous, and was hurled into Nuceria's killing pits. Within mere months, Angron Thalkir became a living weapon, a warrior of savage skill bound by raw, defiant sense of honor. The crowds named him Lord of the Red Sands. Hundreds died by his hands, yet those who fought with courage he spared, even as the arena demanded blood without mercy. Victory followed victory, and soon Angron was worshipped as the unbeaten, beloved by the Desha masses. Though he roared for the crowds and bathed in their praise, chains still cut into his soul. He despised his bondage and plotted endlessly to flee it, launching desperate escape attempts where the slightest chance appeared, each one crushed beneath iron collars and armed guards. In the pits, Angron found brotherhood with an elder gladiator named Onomius, who tempered the Red Angel's fury and became a father in all but blood. Together they carved a legend in slaughter, culminating in the annihilation of 2 berserk Angron, their hulking bodies warped with the savage cybernetic horrors known as the Butcher's Nails. That'll become important later. That triumph sealed their doom. Jot that down. The High Riders demanded the 2 brothers fight to the death for amusement. Angron refused and spat defiance at his masters. For this rebellion, they punished him with agony beyond words. hammering the butcher's nails into his skull, grafting them to his brain, and forever binding his rage to pain.
Yeah. So there, yikes. This is where it sucks for Angron. Is from this point on, he doesn't really have a choice. Like he does, but not really. His path is pretty sealed.
Yeah, and what a way to do it too. Like pit him
Oof.
against somebody he cares for, and force him to kill, force him to do everything. And now it's, I don't know. I like the bit too about him sparing those who fought with courage, because that, I mean, obviously we're going to get into the Khorne side, but like that there still represents part of kind of like Khorne's honor.
Yeah.
It different, obviously not ideal, but it rounds out a little bit more of Angron's like sharp edges, which is cool.
Yeah. There's no glory in killing the weak, but it's still fun. So, you know, that's what I'd say if I was a world eater. That was not a Mark Sikora
Right,
quote, of
right.
course. Yeah. No, I love that little bit of honor there where like even the world eaters themselves, like they have that honor within their own ranks, but like it's a brutal honor.
Mm-hmm.
And what's even doubly tragic too is I'm checking ahead to make sure it doesn't already show up. But when you've come to find out that like each Primarch has like a specific skill or innate latent ability,
Yeah.
and then you come to find out that Angron is supposed to be empathetic, and yet here he is thrown into basically a gladiator world, and then being shoved with butcher's nails that basically just destroys that latent empathy.
Yeah. There is a little bit of that on here at the end of the episode, but it's worth mentioning now here. That is kind of like the extra tragicness of it. It's like he feels the death of everyone he's killing, essentially. Like, fuck. But his story is also like a story of betrayal. Like this, unfortunately, is the first betrayal. And it's a betrayal of himself, really. Like he just killed his best bud mentor, dude. Like that's a shitty betrayal. That's one you don't ever really get over. And there's a couple other huge ones that we'll get into. But
I do have a really good quote by him. Yeah. It's more geared in the Horus Heresy, so I'll wait till like later in the episode if we have time.
Yeah. The other thing I want to mention is how crazy this planet must be that they can keep him contained. Like that's quite the feat. And even like the Eldar was sent to go deal with them, and they couldn't do it. And then these guys were all up, and they were able to contain them. So they got some technology on this planet for sure with all this Dark Age tech that comes up later again too, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, his ascension. Still a little more than a terrified child, he was hurled into the death pit, crowned by a lone ziggurat, packed with hundreds of chained slaves. Oh, I think I rewrote that part. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's go to the Butcher's Nail, which is the next section. That'd be you, Core.
Cool. You got it. The Butcher's Nails. Relics torn from the dark age of technology. These cortical abominations flooded a warrior's body with endless fury, driving strength and savagery far beyond mortal limits. In return, they scoured the mind clean, burning away reason, restraint, and even the instinct to survive. The nails fed on wrath, rewarding pain and rage with vicious surges of pleasure while Whoa. Sorry,
I fucked you.
You're good. I'm looking for it. Okay, there we go. Editor's gonna have fun on this one. Okay, the nails fed on wrath, rewarding pain and rage with vicious surges of pleasure while rending all else numb and hollow. No engine of murder devised by mankind was ever more cruelly efficient. The dungeons beneath the colossal arenas housed thousands of gladiators, every one of them mutilated by the butcher's nails, and Angron was soon thrown among them. When the surgery was complete, the restraints were stripped away and Angron was unleashed, straight upon Onomaus, Blind, screaming, and lost to the nail's torment, he tore his mentor apart in a red storm of violence. When clarity finally returned, Angron beheld what he had done. The weight of his crime shattered him, and grief drove him into a madness deeper than any inflicted by steel or implant. Legends claim his howl of anguish echoed without pause for several solar days, and a sound of pure animal despair that shook stone and soul alike. Onamau's death broke what little remained of Angron's innocence. From that moment, he vowed to escape his chains and repay the High Riders in blood, swearing that their world would one day drown in the agony they had carved into him. And there's a bunch of our tragedy.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Either of you ever kill your mentor?
No.
This was really a trick question for Gerald, seeing if I can uncover one of those bodies. Nope. Okay.
I will never blink.
Yeah, what man, they just make it sound so brutal, like hammering the nails into your head, and all these guys are down there. And yeah, basically, if you're not committing violence, you get this like chalkboard just grinding in your mind, this screaming, this pain.
It is just constant Nickelback playing in your head.
Mm-hmm.
It is just so bad. It's that. It's Fall
just enough to make anybody mad.
So bad.
Oh
and the thing about how the nails actually function, like most normal human beings, even Space Marines, it only takes like one set, like one strand for it to do its thing. Maybe 2 or 3, depending on how resilient you are. As you can see in the artwork for Angron, he has like a full set of dreadlocks with it. Mm-hmm. That's with how much he had to take.
Yeah, that was always a cool kind of like they had this old artwork of the butcher's nails. And it's cool to see how they kind of transferred onto all the minis over the years. Mm. Yeah, so he's not happy. He's in the pits. He's not happy, but he's there.
Not having a good day. He is never going to have a good day, unfortunately.
No, and I mean, as much as I hate that he had to kill his mentor, which is good storytelling, I do really enjoy the tragedy of him realizing what he did. Like he understands. He's not turned into like this blind, dumb, blinded by rage idiot. Like it happens, and he has moments of that, but there's this clarity of like it set in. Dear God, what have I done? And now he's on the plot of like trying to get revenge.
Yeah,
he's not just some. I think later, obviously, we kind of view him as like this rabid dog that gets let off the leash, but in this stage, he's not. He is conscious of what's happening, and he's got feelings,
and he still has like tactical acumen and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a buddy of mine, a World Eater aficionado, Mr. Toasty, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, was also sent me a clip, which was an excerpt from, it was some World Eater short story, but it showed one of those moments of clarity with Demon Angron, and it's horrific and like how much pain he's actually in, even as a Demon Primarch.
Fucking sucks to suck, eh?
And like he's actually in the process of being summoned by Khorne to a battlefield, and like the narrator just talks about him screaming like, "The nails, they bite, take him away!" And then poof.
Fuck.
Yikes.
It's awful.
Yeah, so he's like the only Khorne follower not having a good time with it, eh?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And you know what else is not going to be a good time? His rebellion.
Blood begets more blood.
With only a handful of standard years, Angron's name became a curse and a roar whispered across every city of his world. Under his brutal tutelage, the gladiators of his arena were forged into the deadliest killers Nuceria had ever produced, and no foe could stand before their howling charge. Yet Angron learned, after one final escape, crushed beneath steel and chains, that fury alone would never break his bondage. His iron code and unmatched skill had earned him loyalty and reverence among the Dacian gladiators. And when the greatest death games in Nucerian history were proclaimed, Angron laid the foundations for rebellion. For these games, he was permitted to stage a titanic slaughter involving every fighter of his arena. As the crowd screams drowned the clash of blades, Angron gave the signal. The gladiators turned on their armed keepers, tearing them apart and carving a path to freedom. Gunfire cut them down in droves, yet nearly 2,000 escaped into the Dacia's streets, seizing weapons and supplies before vanishing into the northern mountains where Angron had first bled and risen. For years afterward, the world's rulers hurled army after army at the fugitives, who named themselves the Eaters of Cities. Each force was annihilated by Angron's command, his peerless wrath, and the nails-driven savagery of his warriors. But hunger, wounds, and relentless pursuit gnawed them away until only 1,000 remained, half the number who had first broken their chains. At last, upon Fedin Moor, on the desolate spine of the Shelika Ridge, Angron and his followers were encircled by no fewer than 7 vast Nucerian armies. Even a Primarch could not butcher such numbers alone. It was then, as blood and despair closed in, that the Emperor of Mankind came to Nuceria, drawn by the psychic scream of his lost son.
Yeah, what a fucking army that is. They did steal this straight out of Spartacus, so as mentioned earlier. Yeah, hiding in the mountains, gladiators fighting off armies, but slowly one by one they all fall. You know, you can raid a city and get a couple more slaves here and there, but you know that core of hardened warriors slowly die off, and then they get cornered up high on a mountain.
Corn herd.
Shit.
Yeah. And it shows here again tactics. Like he's not just some dumb rabid dog unleashed. Like he's a smart dude and has some sense of leadership and charisma, obviously, because he's got this basically mini army behind him that he's coordinating. They're working together, you know. So another, I think, cool unseen side of Angron a little bit.
Yeah. So he's up on the mountain and the Emperor shows up. From the cold void above Nuceria, the Emperor had stalked Angron in silence for many solar months, watching as his lost son led broken slaves in savage defiance against tyrants. At last, the Emperor descended with a small honor guard of Legio Custodes, and when the shock of that impossible meeting faded, he offered Angron dominion over the 12th Legion, the War Hounds, born of Angron's own blood and the place beside him in the Great Crusade. To the Emperor's astonishment, Angron spat the offer back. His place, he snarled, was with the slaves who had bled and starved beside him, the eaters of cities, and he would die with them rather than abandon them. Reeling from the refusal, the Emperor withdrew to his flagship, unwilling to press further. Yet in cold calculation, the Emperor saw the truth. Angron would not accept. For all his fury and genius, the Primarch would be slain in the coming battle. To lose one of his irreplaceable sons to a doomed uprising on a soon-to-be-compliant backwater world was intolerable. The flagship descended into low orbit, and without warning or consent, Angron was torn from the surface by teleportation, ripped away from the Fadane Mahor and the slaughter of the Deshlaki Ridge. Deshalika Ridge. Deprived of their lord and symbol, the gladiators' resolve shattered. By the following day, they were butchered to the last soul by the armies of Nuceria's rulers. From orbit, Angron watched in mute agony as his brothers and sisters were exterminated. His rage boiled beyond control, and the Custodes closed in around him, guardian spears leveled, hemming in the Red Angel as he burned with helpless fury. Yeah, fuck. Just another hammer blow, man. Another nail, as they say.
Yeah, and In this case, so you have in Nuceria, you've got the upper class forcing Angron to do death, to fight, to be a slave. And now, essentially in his mind, he becomes the slave to the emperor. Like
Yeah.
he is now once again just being picked up and thrown into something that he has no choice over whatsoever. So yeah, I would be pissed too in so many ways, because this isn't salvation for him. He sees it as like probably just being used. I'm going to take you and I'm going to use you, and versus I'm saving you.
And it's his first loss too. The gladiators they have, I think it's called like the black rope. Fuck, I wish I remembered off the top of my head. But basically, after every victory, or after every loss, they do a little scar on them, and eventually it'll create this kind of network of scars and victories. You know, some red marks, some black. But Angron's is all just victory after victory scar. So this is like it's like he's still honorable, and this is such a mark on his honor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, to the rest of his comrades still on the planet, that looks like a betrayal to them. That he just boop, up and left.
Yeah. And how much of I mean, he was kind of like the tent pole, the linchpin. He leaves, and everything crumbles. And it may not be instantaneous, but he's such a presence in this force that once he's gone, things are just lost.
Vengeful says red rope wins, black rope losses. Yeah, it's interesting too. Maybe we'll go to this point of why did the emperor just do this? Maybe we'll talk about the why after this next section.
Cool.
It just seems so like, what the heck? Of all your grand wisdom, the emperor, eh? That was your fucking move? Okay.
Well, yeah, because I mean, we'll get into it, but like he doesn't give a shit about this planet.
Yeah.
And he doesn't give a shit about the people. Again,
I got a different theory for you, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the betrayal. In a sudden explosive surge of fury, Angron struck down one of the custodians, tearing the golden warrior apart before restraint could find him. I love that. I don't know why. I'm just like, yeah, get fucked, Banana Boy. Sorry, I don't know. It just, maybe that's just
that one guy had such potential. He's been around for like 200 years of service, just gone.
My perfect golden banana boy. No.
Yeah. The emperor himself intervened, crushing the Primarch's rampage beneath overwhelming psychic force and driving Angron into unwilling submission. Yikes. Snarling with hate, Angron demanded to know why I'm going to put this in quotes, why his, quote, father had not descended sooner, why he had not saved the comrades dying below. The emperor dismissed the accusation as small-minded. He spoke of destiny and empire, of a grand design to reunite the galaxy for all humanity. The deaths of a handful of enslaved rebels on a forgotten world were, to him, insignificant. The emperor claimed that one day Angron would understand the necessity of his choice. Angron answered that he had been meant to die on Nuceria because beside his brothers and sisters, and that what stood before the emperor was now only a hollow remnant of himself. The emperor replied coldly that a ghost would suffice for his purposes. I'm hating the emperor more. The abandonment of the gladiators was a sin Angron would never forgive. It became a rot in his soul, a permanent scar upon his honor that could never heal, only deepen with time and bloodshed. Angron, broken and stolen, carried that wound into the Great Crusade. The precise details of the emperor's intervention and Angron's submission are lost to rumor and shadow, but one truth endures. Angron's first response to his new existence was unrestrained rage. For a time, any war hound who approached their Primarch was met not with words, but with savage, merciless death. Fuck.
He's just left on his flagship, and if anyone goes in like a 1 mile radius on that ship, they just get slaughtered by him. You just walk out of the bathroom into the corridor hallway of the void ship, and you look right, and you're like, "Shit, there's Angron," and you make eye contact with them, and he just starts, he starts stomping, and it's too late. You're dead. Fuck.
This really gives a good picture of how manipulative and kind of shitty the Emperor is in many cases. And again, I understand, like, he's probably right in the sense that, like, this one planet means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like, sure, there's an argument to be made there, but we're siding with Angron here, and it makes us, I think, it makes his fall like satisfying. It's kind of satisfying. It's like, yeah, you know what? Get fucked.
Get fucked. Yeah, that was a bad parental move there. You did a bad call.
Yeah.
I often complain about, like, how does this, like, kind of all-seeing, omnipotent God Emperor kind of make so many bad calls like this? Like,
I know.
Like, what happened here? Like, seriously, you just left all his friends to die, and you're like, come on this grand crusade with me, son.
Yeah.
Like, did you think that would go over? Like, I can't relate to that. I can't understand that at all. I was trying to think, like, because this is old lore that he kind of just kidnaps them. Like, that's always kind of been around. I always try to rationalize it. I think as they've released kind of a little bit more information on this planet, maybe all I can rationalize is that this planet is too high tech, too dark age of technology to mess with. And maybe if the Emperor took all of the slaves, maybe that planet then all of a sudden hops in their starships and starts fucking around. And the Emperor just doesn't want to deal with any of that, you know? Or I just, like, why didn't he take them? Like,
because they're unruly. Like,
maybe.
it's thousands, you know, maybe a couple thousand of trained gladiators with butcher's nails in. Like, that's,
I guess,
man, that's.
I guess the butcher's nails is like the key there, where they're not just regular people now at this point. There's no integration. They're not just gonna go work a factory line now or something. Like,
yeah,
sure.
I can't remember where I read it or who I heard it from. So anyone in the comments, feel free to correct me. But I do believe I heard somewhere it was implicitly, or it was implied that the Emperor had made a deal with Nuceria's leadership to let the gladiators be slaughtered in exchange for basically being folded into compliance.
Fuck that. I hate that. I mean, that's good storytelling, but it makes me hate the Emperor.
All the Chaos fanboys,
I like that,
who always cite Emperor as like the quote unquote the shit dad. I mean, this is your prime evidence right here of all of that.
Yeah, you're right, Gerald. Yeah.
I do love that theory, though. That's a great deal. It's like, okay, well, I wasn't really interested in those slaves. You get what you guys want. Join the Empire. Like, we don't have to mess with you. Like I said, they have some crazy tech, you know, and if you can just file them into your place, that's a cool theory. I can really kind of dig that, because I understand, like, the big picture. The Emperor doesn't care about small picture stuff, but it was such an easy thing to just, why not take all of the soldiers?
And there's actually even a part right here in your own notes. To lose one of his irreplaceable sons to a doomed uprising on a soon-to-be compliant backwater world was intolerable.
Sure. Yeah, because they had nothing against the Imperium, I suppose. Like, it's not like, as far as we know, they were, like, humanity opposed or something like that, or they weren't being run by Xenos or something. So they'd probably, just join.
I hate that.
I fucking hate it. I'm mad.
It's great storytelling. I just fucking hate it. It makes me so upset.
Everyone get on to the Big E as a shit dad train. Choo choo, motherfuckers.
Train's not big enough for all of us, damn it.
All right. How on earth does Angron get integrated into the War Hounds first before they become world eaters? In this dark hour, the Legion Master of the War Hounds, Ibram Greer, a commander who had been in the 12th Legion for nearly 3 solar decades, vanished from all records without explanation. Let that sink in, everybody. Let that sink in.
Don't look into it, though.
The Legion spoke nothing of his fate. Only later was it understood that Angron had butchered no fewer than 7 senior officers, Greer among them. It was Captain Karn of the 8th Assault Company chose to face the Red Angel, walking unbidden into Angron's private chambers to confront a Primarch lost to rage. And I can just hear Toasty just cheering in the comments right now. I hope you're happy, buddy. Karn was savagely beaten, his body nearly broken, yet he refused to yield even before far beyond him. That defiance, that refusal to bow, finally pierced Angron's fury. In Karn, Angron saw warriors worthy of standing beside him. At last, the Primarch claimed his place as the true master and general of the 12th Legion. Through blood and broken breath, Karn forged a bond with his Gene Father, speaking of gladiatorial rights and warhound traditions, revealing how closely they mirrored the brotherhoods Angron had lost. Convinced that his Astartes could become his new warband, Angron seized command without hesitation. The War Hounds were cast aside, and the Legion was reborn as the World Eaters. The name was chosen in memory of the rebels who had died with him on Nuceria, the Eaters of Cities, whose wrath had shaken the world. Angron sealed the title when Dragar, a Terran-born captain of the Ninth Company, swore that beneath Angron's hand, the Legion would become the Eaters of Worlds. From that moment, the Legion was poisoned by their Primarch's water. Though throughout the Great Crusade, Angron and the World Eaters won victory after victory, though many recoiled at the feral, merciless methods of the Red Angel, whose wars left nothing behind but and ruins. And I would also like to point out another joke that was made. I think I mentioned this in the Lehman Russ episodes, was with the original name of War Hounds, and then Angron, not being the biggest fan of Lehman Russ and the Space Wolves, basically told the Emperor, it more or less told the Emperor, "I'm not your damn lapdog," which also led to another changing of the name from War Hounds to World Eaters.
Yeah, like, it's funny. At this point, he's planning his next rebellion. He's like, wait, you guys want to fight for me? Okay, I gotta fight. This Emperor fuck, we're gonna bide our time just like I did on Nuceria, and eventually I will get him. And yeah, it's at this point he's like, okay, he's got purpose again, it seems, and direction.
But they had to earn it, because initially he fucking loathes his own Legion.
Yeah,
Like, he
and
doesn't-
like he sends him into like horrific things. Like it's meat grinder battles for sure.
Yeah, but he sees them, I would assume, as you guys were created. My brethren from Nuceria were forged. Like, we were forged out of hardship and forced into either do or die. That's it. You guys were fucking test tube babies created, and this is like, you guys don't know shit.
Yeah.
You know, but then
you gotta learn
from another test tube, baby.
yeah. But then Karn steps up and is just unrelenting, and now finally it sticks, and he's like, oh shit, okay, you guys are ready to play.
You guys
I got
can
you.
do some stuff. Yeah.
So is this the same as Mighty Ducks? Is this the same as
Might well be, yes.
Gordon Bombay getting stuck with a bunch of ragtag kids, and then he's like, I have to coach this shit, and then he sees that they have heart, and then they go for the gold.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Did
they
I just
fucking
make a
do.
fucking Mighty Ducks reference in Warhammer?
Yeah.
That is-
that's not even double nerding.
That's not
like
double
better
nerding.
than that.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know how it
man.
came to me, but
I
there
want
it
to
is.
watch that now. Did you ever watch the cartoon with it? Like, they went on a whole fucking thing. Yeah.
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, well, since we have the old Google up, let's just do.
Mighty Ducks cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I certainly don't remember this. What the fuck? Oh,
Yep.
Okay, I
my
do remember
God.
this.
Yeah, I
Childhood
don't think it
unlocked.
has anything to do with the TV or the movie
Truly,
that
it
we were
does
talking
not.
about.
No.
Both are great, either attached or separate. Either way, I want them both.
Wow. All right.
All right,
Yeah.
so Angron's secret is up next. After Angron was torn from Nuceria by the Emperor, he was brought aboard the War Hounds' flagship, Adamantium Resolve, and laid out within its apothecarion. There he was examined by Vel Cariadar, Archmagos Veneratus of the 12th Legion and the agent of Kelbar Hal, fabricator general of Mars. What followed was not mercy, but cold dissection of a living tragedy. All tech marines and apothecaries were dismissed, and under psychic suppression of Malkador the Sigillite, Angron was forced into a dreamless stupor. For 7 agonizing solar hours, Vel Caridar studied the Nucerian archaeotech driven into the Primarch's skull, each moment watched in silence by the Sigillite. The verdict was grim. The butcher's nails had violently rewritten Angron's mind from the moment of their implantation. When active, the nails strangled serotonin production, starving the brain of restraint and feeding only instinctive aggression. Emotion, caution, and reason were burned away, leaving only pathways tied to adrenaline and rage. Worse still, the device had never been meant for a Primarch's mind. Its crude brutality eroded stability itself, gnawing at Angron's capacity to even think, even as it drove him to slaughter. The implants also mutilated higher cognition, rewriting emotional response into pain and fury. Removal was impossible. Any attempt would annihilate Angron's central nervous system and kill him outright. Left in place, the nails would inevitably destroy him anyways, causing accelerated cortical decay. His transhuman body would fight the damage endlessly, healing as the nails bit deeper, prolonging the agony without cure or without hope of a cure. Vel Cowher, I've said it different every time I said this fucking guy's name, so whatever. That's just if you're 219 episodes into Warhammer, you can tolerate a misstep every now and again. So this guy could not say when Angron would die, only that he would. He reported this doom to the Emperor and soon received a sealed directive bearing the Palatine Aquila, delivered by Malkador himself. The Emperor commanded silence. The truth was to be buried. The 12th Legion was already broken. They had found their gene sire at last, and he alone had failed to conquer this world, his world. If the Legion learned their Primarch was a dying weapon, doomed before the Crusade's end, what little morale remained within the War Hounds would collapse entirely. Later still, Archenland, the famed techno-archaeologist, was summoned to Terra and sealed within the Emperor's hidden laboratories deep inside the dormant volcano forged amid frozen tundra. While Angron lay unconscious, Land was ordered to study the nails further. He alone possessed prior knowledge, having encountered the device known as the Crusamen within the Hexion vaults of Mars. Hexiarchion, holy moly. That forbidden lore had been deemed a threat to humanity itself, knowledge capable of corrupting the human mind. By the Emperor's command, ratified by Kelbar Hal, the vaults were resealed and all records erased. As with Angron, the truth was not destroyed, but entombed. Yeah, so just another little piece of bad news where it's like you're not recovering from this, you're not getting any better, we're not taking these out. In fact, they're going to kill you. They keep driving deeper into his mind, removing more and more mind, but he's healing. So you get this like kind of conflict where he's constantly healing, but they're driving deeper in, and eventually it'll just eat up his whole brain.
So what's interesting though is, and not to contradict that, but it looks like I see some sort of quote from, let me make sure I'm getting this right. An ADB book, Master of Mankind. And so just to kind of sum it up, they're talking about, it's basically the Emperor and Archon saying like, can you remove these, in reference to the butcher's nails? And the Emperor says, yes, of course. And then he basically says, well, why don't you? And so the Emperor shows him essentially how deep everything goes with the butcher's nails. And essentially it's kind of the only thing keeping him alive. Like if they were to remove him, it would kill him. So it literally says the last line in this is, they're the only thing keeping him alive, Archon said. So it's so ingrained in his literal like surgical implants, his mind, his spinal cortex. It was, I mean, it hadn't ruined sections of his brain. It replaced them. Ugly black cybernetics showed the internal scarring and all the scanning that they'd seen in place of entire sections of Primarch's brain tissue, all this stuff. They're the only thing keeping him alive. So that's like the end of that kind of passage there. But they're so ingrained in him. It's replaced parts of his brain. So it is him now. It's not just an addition. It is who he is.
Yeah.
And one thing
like he's not just
that kind of makes me wonder. Like, we talk all the time about different technologies currently in use in 40K had like a completely different purpose, like in the dark age of technology. Like Imperial Knights were like wood cutting were essentially like wood cutting implements. Terminator armor was essentially mining equipment, stuff like that. What was the original purpose of the butcher's nails, or was that just meant to be a barbaric thing from the get-go? Like, was it meant to be like one of those methamphetamine sticks, like what the Germans did in World War II, or that sort of thing? Makes me wonder.
Probably. I mean, probably just a tool of war, or tool of like, it's the anti-lobotomy. It either numbs or it enrages, and I don't know. I think something too is like we keep saying like when activated, but I think it's always active. Like it's always happening.
Yeah.
There's no like switch, like remote, like, oh, let's turn it on. Like it's constant.
Yeah.
But I would say it's probably just one of those horrific dark pieces of technology that like this is not made for anything good. Like there was no innocent purpose that like, oh, we tried to do this, but then we just happened to make an A-bomb when we were really just trying to make a microwave,
Best case situation, they're like, yes, we made a bunch of joyful killers, joyful soldiers.
Yeah.
They're singing their little marching songs, like so happy to just be killing, like, yes. And dropping mushrooms won't help. They won't rebuild those neural pathways because, like you said, they're butcher's nails now, those pathways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and completely unrelated, but while we're ticking off boxes of reasons that Big E is a shit dad, another comment made by Toasty is, in this entire book, the Emperor refers to his sons as numbers and calls them his tools. So
he's
not helping. 20 sons, wouldn't you call them by their number too? That's a lot of names. Especially when they're called like Reboot Gilliman. You got some fucked up names in there to remember.
And then as far as like the Primarch or the order that the Primarchs were found, I went back to the list that we had done back at like Ferrus Manus or something. Angron is like fourth from last to be found before Corax, one of the missing Primarchs, and then Alfarius. So he was found pretty late too.
Yeah,
his legion had been around for quite some time before he was even introduced.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Angron's secret. Should we keep going there? Let's see. Land had read the blasphemous name of the device within the forbidden scraps of lore sealed inside the Hexacarion vaults, but had never witnessed one implanted, awakened, and screaming within a living host, let alone a construct of such savage refinement driven into a Primarch's skull. The nails entombed on Mars were crude, blunt things by comparison. The Nucerian pattern was something far worse. Through deliberate mutilation of Angron's limbic lobe and insular cortex, the Nucerian psychosurgeons had annihilated his ability to govern emotion in any form. The butcher's nails rewrote his mind so completely that pleasure itself became synonymous with fury. Rage was no longer a feeling, it was the only sensation left to him. Only chemical and electrical pathways tied to anger were allowed to live in Angron's brain. Thought became pain, memory became pain. Existence itself became agony. That Angron still lived at all was a brutal testament to the resilience built into the Emperor's Primarchs, a resilience now turned into a curse. Because of this violation, all things wounded him. Breathing hurt, awareness hurt, consciousness itself flayed him raw. The only relief came from the neurochemical reward of rage, the nails feeding him brief, poisonous comfort whenever his anger spiked. His higher cognition was crippled, yet the device was engineered with a cruel cunning, primitive in origin, but devastatingly effective. Land asked the Emperor whether this device could be removed. The answer was yes, but only in theory. The nails had sunk barbed tendrils deep into Angron's flesh and thought. Angron's flesh and thought, threaded through his nervous system and coiled like serpents along his spine. To tear them free would to tear Angron apart. Yep, pretty much like we were talking about before. So worse still, the nails had not merely damaged Angron's brain. Key portions of his limbic lobe and insular cortex had been surgically excised before implantation. The device had not corrupted these regions, it had replaced them. Those machine components were now the only things keeping Angron alive at all. Boom. Said it. I love it. Got it. Though his lifespan and clarity were shortened, the nails magnified his lethality to monstrous extremes. He could still lead. He could still kill. That was enough. The Emperor returned Angron to his legion, judging that even broken, a Primarch remained useful. This cold calculation, this willingness to weaponize a living tragedy, could stand among the Emperor's gravest errors.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Things are just not a good time at all.
No, and you know what? I wonder too, and maybe we said it, and I think the chat will be a good help here, is there an awareness of the butcher's? There is. There's got to be an awareness of the butcher's nails. Like he knows he has it, and he knows what it's doing, because obviously later on they're all implemented into, his legion. But initially, I wonder if you have any concept of like what this is actually doing to you.
I think he does, because the quote, if Mark lets me at the end of the episode, if Mark lets me say it, like basically is, without spoiling too much right now, is Angron telling off Gilliman for like, what do you know of what I've been through? That sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Toasty. Yeah. Thank you. He's known since Nuceria. They learn that they drive them to rage. Yeah. So I guess it would be something that you're aware of and know that it's going to happen. So, okay. Cool. Well, yeah. So, we kind of were right and made that prediction that, yeah, it's the only thing keeping him alive. So it is
strangely the only thing keeping him alive is also killing him.
Yeah. Jeez.
So he
yeah. So don't you just hate it?
He was a dead man walking either way.
Yeah.
So
this comment, he wants his sons to feel his pain. He's also not the best dad. Yeah, there's a lot of bad dads in 40K for sure.
Yeah.
If anything could be summed up about 40K in general, or just the Imperium, it's just daddy issues.
Yeah, fuck.
But I guess let's further drive the butcher's nails into the brains here with his transformation. Angron returned and claimed his legion upon mustering fields of Bot, the War Hounds garrison world. Fresh from Terra, he set about remaking his sons without restraint. No trial period was demanded of him, no tutelage beneath another Primarch's shadow, nor any time spent at the Emperor's side. He was simply unleashed and told to command. With feral urgency, Angron drove the 12th Legion toward war. The discipline they had once known was torn apart and reforged into something harsher and more unforgiving. What followed made their former training seem merciful by comparison. Under Angron, battle itself became the only teacher and the only law. Training was war in all but name. Live fire, drawn blades, blood-soaked pits, and endless gladiatorial slaughter became the crucible in which his gene sons were broken and reforged. Each world eater carried scars as lessons etched into the flesh, learned beneath choking heat and volcanic ash. Those who failed were simply culled, their weakest paid for in blood. Remembering the brutal power granted by his own implants, Angron commanded his apothecarion to drive the butcher's nails into the skulls of every world eater. These devices would push aggression and pain tolerance beyond even Astartes' limits, remaking his legion into his own image. The cost was absolute. The implants stripped their bearers of peace, joy, and restraint, leaving only the fleeting relief found in violence, mirroring the torment of their Primarch. To spread this curse, Angron ordered his tech marines to study his own nails as a pattern for mass production. Okay, the task was nearly impossible. His implants were relics of forgotten human science, barely understood, and removal for study would have killed him outright. Early attempts at replication were catastrophic. Under apothecary Galen Sherlack, every Astartes subjected to the new nails died screaming on the slab. Still, Angron would not relent. He demanded that every one of his sons share his agony, no matter the cost. And there was a particular exchange between Angron and Karn that actually led to Angron implementing it. Because when Karn was confronting Angron and saying like, "Hey, we want to fight by you. We just want to be like you, Dad." And then Angron
You're
basically
so
was
cool.
like, how do you want to do that? And then there you go. All the rest of the Legion gets the nails.
It's just the daddy issue after daddy issue, and then it keeps going. Trickles
hurt
down.
hurt people, eh?
That's right. That's right.
Fuck. So that's the setup for them in the Great Crusade. It's a great spot, you know. You got a bunch of these super powerful transhumans that have nails driven into their heads. So and they love fighting each other too. So yeah, great warriors. In the first stages of Angron's rule over the 12th Legion, he refused to even acknowledge most of his gene sons, scorning them as weak for their inability to survive the agony of the butcher's nails. At one point, in a fit of contempt and fury, Angron stole a frigate, abandoned his legion entirely, and vanished into the void without warning a word. For 2 Terran years, the World Eaters searched for their lost Primarch. He was finally found by Centurion Karn, his equerry, marooned upon a forgotten feral world. There, Angron lived as a beast among beasts, hunting endlessly and throwing himself into battle after battle. Not to conquer, but in the hope that something might finally kill him. Karn was horrified by what he found. He confronted Angron with bitter words, invoking the memory of Nucerian gladiators, the brothers and sisters who had died screaming beside him. They told him they would have despised seeing him reduced to such a hollow, self-destructive wretch. The words cut deep. At last, Angron agreed to return, swearing that he would lead the World Eaters in a way that would scour weakness from them entirely. This is one of those funny kind of rewrites where authors like to subvert expectations, and they're just like, you know what? Karn was actually a very good talker. For the Legion, at least. You know, he seems to be this like Karn the Betrayer actually was a great equerry, and it's one of those things where it's like, nah, that doesn't lock. That's not the Karn I know. That don't last, but it's fun.
I still find it hilarious that the most famous captain of the World Eaters Legions that falls to Khorne is named Karn.
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah. In the following years, the Liber Malleus records entire star systems surrounding the moment the World Eaters fleet translated into their space. I've seen that, and I wonder what that was. There wasn't a link for that or nothing. It's just like a throwaway word or a throwaway thing. But the Liber Malleus, interesting. Such was the terror of Angron's name that planets chose to remain, chose chains over annihilation. With this reputation came whispers of mass slaughter and unrestrained devastation. Tales so extreme they chilled even veteran Imperial commanders and drew unease from the Imperial War Council and Angron's brother Primarchs alike. Foremost amongst his critics was Rabu Gilliman of the Ultramarines, who fought beside Angron during the cleansing of Arigita. Gilliman witnessed firsthand the carnage at the Basalt Citadel, where the last defenders of the non-compliant world made their stand. He saw the fortresses breach atop the ramp of the world. Fortress breached atop a ramp of world eaters' corpses, and the unspeakable butchery that followed within its walls. It was after such campaigns that Angron became known as to the galaxy as the Red Angel, a title earned through atrocity and oceans of blood. Of all the names forced upon him, Angron despised this one the most. The Imperium already had its angel in Sanguinius. Angron had no wish to be likened to that radiant mutant of the XII Legion. He was no savior, no symbol, only himself. Yet in cruel irony, the title he hated would become one of the truest ever given to him. Yeah.
Classic.
Classic, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just words of power. You know, if you say nice things about yourself in the mirror every morning, you'd be better for it.
I'm going to do that tomorrow.
I think you should. I think you start off by saying, I like my hair, I'm funny, and the other two I'll leave up to you.
Good say.
This is your journey.
Yeah. Right on. All right, the War Hounds. So the early years of the Great Crusade, the War Hounds were a disciplined but brutally efficient legion, feared for their ferocity yet restrained by a rigid martial code. Drawn largely from Terra, they were shock troops of the Emperor's will, unleashed where resistance was hardest and compliance demanded overwhelming force. Their assaults were direct, uncompromising, and relentless, favoring close combat and aggressive advances that broke enemy lines through sheer violence of action. Yet, despite their savagery, the War Hounds still possessed structure, hierarchy, and a sense of honor. Officers maintained control, excesses were curbed, and the Legion fought as a weapon rather than a frenzy. Even before the coming of Angron, there was barely a contained hunger for battle within their ranks, a latent brutality waiting for a master who would one day strip away restraint and turn the War Hounds into something far darker. And we all know what that is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting that you guys kind of mentioned. They were left alone for a long time to kind of do their thing. So they were pretty happy when they finally found their father, but he definitely was not what they really needed. Not the daddy they needed.
No.
Fuzz likes the name War Hounds better than the World Eaters. But
it's not evil enough.
Yeah.
I think War Hound sounds cool, but it sounds somewhat honorable. World Eaters, that just sounds
fucking tight. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what sounds more terrifying to a plan you're going to put in compliance? Oh, we're sending the dogs after you. Oh shit, you're sending World Eaters after us. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, their symbol is tight.
World Eaters were one of the that was one of the first armies I ever saw. My mentor, Grant, his first army, I think, was World Eaters. He was painting those, and I was like, it was that classic like blood red and gold of the Firstborn Marines and stuff. And man, they just looked so cool. And that was one of the first decals I saw on the pauldron. That, and I was like, wow, that's sick. These guys must be the bad guys. Like I had no idea, but I'm sure as shit they're not the good guys.
These guys must be the bad guys.
We wield chain axes and have skulls on our armor. Yeah. Are we the baddies?
Yeah.
Oh man. Sorry, I was looking for another quote. But anyways, so decimation. That's a fun word. We all know Perturaba is infamous for it too.
Mm-hmm.
For all the victories carved by the world eaters, each was paid for in suffering beyond measure. Most notoriously, Angron decreed that any world marked for conquest must fall within 31 solar hours. So just over a day. The span of a single Nucerian day, and the same span in which he had won his greatest and most hateful triumph upon his enslaved homeworld. Again and again, despite relentless assault and oceans of blood, the world eaters failed to break entire planets within that impossible span. Each failure was answered not with mercy or reflection, but with ritualized slaughter. Angron imposed decimation, a punishment dragged screaming from antiquity. One in every 10 warriors was selected to die, beaten and butchered by the 9 who fought beside him. Brother was forced to kill brother, loyalty twisted into complicity, survival bought with murder. The Legion bled itself at its Primarch's command, discipline enforced not by honor, but by terror and grief. For one veteran officer of the World Eaters, this endless cycle of victory, failure, and the sanctioned fratricide became unbearable. The breaking point came during the campaign later named the Second Compliance of Gehenna, where Angron's fury and the Legion's torment finally collided in open crisis.
How the fuck are you choosing one of these 10 soldiers?
So in Roman times, it was done by lots, and whoever drew the short
That's what I
straw
figured. Yeah.
was the one that got beaten to death.
Fuck. That's rough. Hey, we know you just like conquered this world. We're all going to get together. We're going to debrief, chat about it. But then 10% of you are going to die.
Yeah.
Let's see. How long did it take you to do this conquest in less than the hours? And you failed.
Man.
Yeah.
This show is also, again, we're talking about Angron being an empath, but like no one that's not like ritualistic or sentimental is setting this 31 solar hour span. Like he's doing it based on like this cool, like I decree it because I remember it, and these were those days. And it's like this ritual now. It's like this like glorious sentiment that he has. So there's just a little bit of that. Like it's still there a little bit. Otherwise, he would just be like, it means nothing to me. And you do it as quickly as possible. But like, no, there's a meaning behind that declaration.
I love Astartes in like kind of the more mythos of them, where it's like, yeah, you send 5, 10, Astartes to a planet, and they take it and they do some grand operation. They take the planet super quick or whatever. Shout out to the fucking U.S. Army and their fucking overseas shenanigans lately. Like, you can do a lot in 31 hours, man. Just imagine being a Astartes. If Delta Force can go kidnap presidents around the world, like, you can capture planets quick if you're an Astartes, especially if you got like a bunch of them, thousands of them just running around. So it's a pretty reasonable timeline. I think Angron's a very reasonable fella, is what I'm saying.
For sure. And I think that brings up a really good point too, is that we constantly think of like armies of space marines and legions just coming down. Like you and some planets, you really don't need that. Like, look what Angron did with himself and 2,000 slaved gladiators. Like he brought that world to their knees a little bit. And now you could maybe throw 200 of the Legion at a planet and see what it does. But again, 20 of you are going to fucking die.
And I think I brought this up during like the Lion episodes, where like it's just crazy, like the scale of the Great Crusade. Like Mark was just mentioning, like in 40K, you need 1, 2, maybe 4 or 5 Astartes at most to claim a planet. But when you're in the Great Crusade, there's like entire legions being sent down. Like it's just a scale all on its own. 30K is just wild too. Like the more I'm learning about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of fun technology and lots of Astartes. So we'll get into the Guyana massacre. Guyana was a forsaken human world, scarred by the long nightmare of old night. Though its technology endured, its people did not. Genetic decay ravaged the population until fewer than 1,000 Giennians survived, suspended in fragile life pods like relics awaiting extinction. When the world cataloged coldly as 9315 was rediscovered by the Imperium, it bent the knee without resistance. For several Terran years, it endured Imperial occupation in silence, until all communication ceased and the world went dark once more. Angron and the World Eaters were dispatched to uncover the truth. Negotiations collapsed almost immediately when it was revealed that Karn was left in charge of negotiations. No, when it was revealed that the Genians had reshaped their own bodies and relied upon what could only be abominable intelligence. Enraged, Angron ordered an immediate invasion. As was his custom, he decreed that the world must fall within 31 hours, or the Legion would pay in blood. Failure, Angron declared, would be answered with decimation. One world eater in every 10. Fearing another ritual slaughter, the Legion, and hamstrung by poor orbital armor and artillery support, the Terran-born veteran Centurion Mago of the 18th Company rushed the landing, desperate to spare his warriors from yet another Primarch-imposed culling. When the World Eaters struck Guyana's surface, they found no defenders, only revelation and horror. The planet's true population numbered in the billions, artificial simulacrums, shaped like humans, unarmed yet endless. These mindless constructs drowned in Astartes beneath sheer mass, dragging warriors down no matter how many were destroyed. Despite Mago's desperate command, the World Eaters began to falter, and for a terrible span, it seemed even Angron's legion would be smothered and torn apart beneath the tide that would not stop. AI, yeah, AI is crazy. This planet kind of just has been consumed by it. Now all that's left is these like robots. I heard like a cool description, like of the planet, our planet, in 50 years, potential, and it's basically just a circuit board for AI. There's no more humans. It's just like the planet has just been turned into a computer, and now
Like
it's
the
kind of
Matrix.
just essentially, yeah, man, like
Jeez.
just wires running everywhere that's just feeding machines.
Really strange double nerdy moment, but I had this image of that one scene from A Bug's Life. Hear me out on this. Hear me out on this. The grasshoppers are talking about the ants, and they're like, why don't we just crush them? They're puny compared to us and whatnot. And so one guy takes like a seed or whatever, throws it at a guy. Oh, did that hurt? No. Okay. How about this one? No. How about this one?
Oh,
and then he just unloads all the seeds and just crushes like two of the grasshoppers.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm imagining was going on with the World Eaters.
You let one ant stand up to us, and they all might stand up to us. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if we ever let them figure that out, there's no way. There goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
That was some very great double nerding. Very interesting.
Yeah.
We
can learn so much from bugs.
We've thrown A Bug's Life in here. We had Mighty Ducks. This is a very special episode. Man.
On the angriest Primarch of all, nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, all right. Continuing with the Gena massacre. Though the World Eaters at last gained the heavy armor and thundering artillery that they had been denied, smashing a breach and clawing their way into the heart of Gena's primary city, it was not enough. The hours bled away, and once again, the Legion failed to meet Angron's merciless limit of 31 solar hours. Howling with frustration, they were ordered to disengage and retreat in disgrace to their flagship, the Conqueror. Aboard the Conqueror, Angron's fury found its true prey. He decreed another decimation, a fresh blood tithe to punish failure. Centurion Mago refused the order, amused rather than angered. Angron commanded Mago to personally execute the first legionary chosen to die. Fuck. When Mago defied him again, the Primarch erupted. In a frenzy of incandescent rage, Angron tore into his own Gene sons, slaughtering dozens with his bare hands as the decks ran slick with Legion blood. Only the librarians of the 12th Legion, led by Lectio Primus Vorius, were able to halt the carnage, hurling their psychic strengths against their own Primarch and forcing him into unconsciousness. Several died in the attempt, yet Angron did not wake, and his enforced silence birthed a crisis that threatened to tear the World Eaters apart from within. Amid the chaos, Apothecary Galen Surlac revealed his blasphemous triumph, a stable method for implementing the butcher's nails into Astartes, born from the stolen neuro-cybernetic lore of Gehenna. At last, the Legion could be reshaped in Angron's image. Horror seized Mago as he realized his brothers would be drowned in engineered madness. Excuse me. With fellow Terran veterans of the old War Hounds, he began to conspire to stop Surlac and save what little soul the Legion still possessed. Mago pleaded with Centurion Karn, begging him to turn the Legion back from the abyss. Karn did not listen. Left with no choice, Mago gathered other delusioned warriors loyal to him aboard the frigate Hound's Tooth, choosing treachery over damnation. Their plan was simple and desperate: destroy Surlac's equipment before the nails could be perfected. They failed. Soon after, Karn became the first World Eater to survive full implantation of the Butcher's nails. With that single damning success, Surlac moved swiftly, condemning a future 1,000 World Eaters, condemning a further 1,000 World Eaters to lives of endless rage and sealing the Legion's bloody fate.
That is a very cool scene in Angron's Primarch book, because that section is told from Karn's point of view, and then like physically, if you physically look at the pages, like it details him waking up, going after Surlac's men, and then as you turn each page, it just gets progressively covered in blood until it just gets completely black. And then the next chapter starts with him waking up from his daze.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you mean like actually like the pages themselves? Like
yes.
Like designed as bloody and stuff and all that?
Yes.
That's fucking cool.
Never seen that before.
Oh, me neither.
Are you sure somebody didn't just like drop it in some wine or something
When-
and then shipped it
no.
off?
Next time I am back home, I will pull out that book and I will take pictures of those
Please
pages
fucking do.
and post it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I love that.
Wow. Very cool. You're being called out here. Where's the book? Where's the book?
Where's
It's at
the
my
book?
house, Toasty. You know this.
Where are
You know
you?
I'm not home yet. See,
Where are
now
you?
I'm getting mad.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah.
Where are you at, Gerald?
I cannot say.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that means only one thing: with a lady lover.
That's your one That's your one and only conclusion to his life. That's all it is.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
You enjoy when we are done podcasting, my friend.
Gerald is a man of many facets. This man could be doing anything right now. We don't know. He could be in Panama and you don't even know.
Oh God, I hope.
I am a
Come
question
visit.
wrapped inside of a mystery, wrapped inside of an enigma.
Yes.
So a little more
So,
blood.
so all blood to continue this. Just this madness is an understatement. At last, Angron tore himself free from his death-like slumber, and his awakening was marked by war. With the Primarch at their head and the newly augmented warriors howling in unison, the World Eaters hurled themselves back upon Gehenna, driven by the screaming hunger of the Butcher's nails. They fell upon the planet in a red storm, butchering everything in their path, drowning beneath the press of simulacrums, yet refusing to slow, even as the dead piled high around them. Through Surlac's stolen lore and butchered science, the Legion traced the source of the simulacrum's command signal. It led them to a pitiful truth. The withered husks of the last true Gehennans, cocooned in life pods, little more than 1,000 souls left alive, each enslaved to control thousands of false bodies. They begged for mercy from the blood-soaked Astartes. Karn answered them with cold contempt, declaring the galaxy the Imperium's due, and personally oversaw their extermination, ending the Gehennan race in screams and gore. What a way to go.
Yeah, fuck.
Elsewhere, Mago and his remaining allies accepted that their legion was lost. With no other path remaining, they resolved to seize Angron, Karn, and all those bound to the nails and drag them in chains before the Emperor himself. After the Gehennans were annihilated, Mago confronted the World Eaters upon the ruined surface. He begged one final time for reason, for restraint, for remembrance of what they once were. The answer was bolterfire and blade. Brother turned on brother as civil war ignited amid the corpses. In the carnage, Mago faced Karn, the friend he no longer recognized. Karn struck him down. As the axe rose for the killing blow, Mago spat his final warning that the 12th Legion would be damned forever by Angron's path of blood and madness. His words rang hollow in the moment, but time would prove them true. With their leader dead, the surviving rebels faltered, cast down their arms, and submitted themselves to Angron's judgment. Reunited in atrocity, the World Eaters scoured Gehenna to the bedrock. Cities burned, towers fell, and every last trace of life was erased in a single night of apocalyptic slaughter. It was whispered that the psychic death cries of the planet were heard by astropaths across the half the sector, a chorus of agony screaming Angron's name. In the wake of this annihilation, voices on Terra called for judgment and restraint. The Terran Council demanded action. Soon after, Primarch, Leman Russ, and the Space Wolves were unleashed, sent to Gehenna to confront the Red Angel, break his legion's descent, and end the spread of the Butcher's Nails by force if need be.
Yeah, fucking crazy. So he just escalates. It gets crazier and crazier, and now the Imperium's like, okay, I think this is too much. Like, they don't know a whole lot about the warp, but when the warp starts howling and screaming somebody's name, yeah, you start getting a little worried.
Mm-hmm.
You start getting a little flustered.
I mean, he's basically 40K's Doom guy at this point. He just needs the heavy metal in the background as he's going.
Yeah.
Low hanging fruit, but I mean, Gehenna, like are we hip to that, gentlemen?
Mm-hmm.
Like biblical reference is like a valley in Jerusalem but I mean, I think biblically it's more associated with hell.
I think it was the original Hebrew term for it, which
Yeah,
was meant to be like a trash heap, but then
there was like it was a valley essentially. There was sacrifices and it was a pretty horrible place, but yeah, I think that they basically like a trash heap is just a horrible
Is that
pit,
like Biggie
of.
Small song where it's like the way walk through the valley of the shadow of death? Is that about Guyana?
Are we talking about Coolio?
Maybe it's Coolio. Maybe it's not who I said
Gangster's
it was.
Paradise?
Yeah, that's Gangster's
That would be it.
I mean, yeah, he's taking a very small part of biblical text, but yeah. But I don't necessarily think, I mean, we can go down this hole, but like I don't think the Valley of the Shadow of Death is necessarily representative of Gehenna.
That was from the book of Psalms. It's a prayer that's said during funerals usually.
Interesting. The more you know.
Yeah, the more you know. But yeah, Gehenna, not a good place. Here, not a good place.
Yeah. Like they were definitely like doing some rituals and stuff beyond just slaughtering, it seems. Like this was more than just their typical slaughter. This was like the ascension. Like the warp starts screaming his name. And they had enough. So they send in Layman Russ, the biggest, the baddest, the lamest of them all. I love. Well, I'll pull up a meme after I read my section, and we'll all have a good laugh about it and be friends. But in the wake of Guyana massacre, the World Eaters were formally condemned by the Emperor, ordered to abandon the use of the cortical implants that were devouring their souls. Imperial annals record that 2 Primarchs were sent to Angron in the Emperor's name, each tasked with breaking his defiance and ending the spread of the Butcher's Nail. The first came soon after Angron was forced back into the Imperium following his unwilling abduction from Nuceria. The second would not arrive until nearly a Terran century later. By then, the 12th Legion's fate had already been sealed, and the tragedy gnawing at its heart had grown far beyond any hope of reversal. The episode that followed the slaughter of Guyana would be later whispered as the Night of the Wolf. Layman Russ, acting under the Emperor's command, led the Space Wolves to Guyana to bring Angron and his legion to heel. The 2 legions met upon the blasted plains of Malakoya, beyond the corpse city of the same name. The World Eaters, broken and blood-soaked from their compliance of Guyana, formed uneven savage ranks before the fresh strength of the Space Wolves. The Primarchs advanced to face one another's, weapons in hand. Angron stood drenched in gore, his armor split and scored by fresh wounds and fury burning in his eyes. Russ stood resplendent in storm-hued plate, every inch the Lord of Fenris. In those early years, Angron still wielded his first axe, Widowmaker, a weapon that would shatter before the day was done. Russ bore Krakenmaw, his massive chainsword, its teeth fashioned from the fabled hordes of Phoenician myth. Angron spat defiance, refusing to acknowledge his brother's authority and warning the Wolf King to withdraw while he still could. Russ did not yield. He declared that the implantation surgeries must end and that the Emperor himself had judged them an abomination. The massacres were to stop. The World Eaters were to submit and return to Terra under Space Wolf escort, and their nails would be torn from their minds, no matter the cost. Angron answered with contempt and barely restrained violence. No record ever named who fired the first shot. In later years, each legion blamed each other. No order was given, yet war erupted all the same. The clash was followed by savage and uncontrolled brother against brother beneath a dead sky. It would be remembered as the Night of the Wolf, though Imperial archives would later bury it beneath the sterile title of the Guyana Scouring, erasing the shame of Astartes' blood spilled by Astartes' hand. Both legions claimed victory. Both carried the scars of defeat. The battle ended without resolution, soaked in blood and unanswered rage. Yet its outcome was clear enough. The World Eaters did not return to Terra, and Angron did not bend. He defied the Emperor outright, commanding his tech marines to continue the implantation of the Butcher's Nail until nearly every warrior of the 12th Legion had been mutilated by the device. As the Great Crusade ground on, the World Eaters sank deeper into the ritualized savagery. Blood drinking, pit fighting, and brutal gladiatorial rites became sacred custom. Warriors boasted of skull tallies and slaughtered rivals even beyond the battlefield. For many, the hunger for killing could no longer be contained by war alone. Yet the Imperium tolerated it. The results were too effective, the conquest too swift. The Emperor looked away and in doing so doomed countless souls. For the World Eaters were already sliding into the embrace of Khorne, the blood god. And when Horus raised its banner of treachery, Angron's legion would answer eagerly, forged by rage, chained by agony, and damned long before the first shot of betrayal was ever fired. Whew, yeah, okay, so powerful legion to be able to do all that and then still fight off the Space Wolves. And now I'll show you the spicy little meme. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I like the idea of Space Wolves going against World Eaters. It sounds rad, and I think you're right. It does show the power and strength of the World Eaters going up against a a legion that has not
That
just fought a war. Uh-oh, here we go. What is this?
I've seen that meme.
I have
Yep.
not seen this.
So in this little crater here, there's like it's Lehman
It's Lehman Russ in the
crater.
Yamcha death pose.
Yeah, the Yamcha. That's exactly it from Dragon
Okay.
Ball. And it says Russ, after starting a fight with Angron, and he was only pretending to get his ass kicked to lure Angron into a trap. And then he fights the lion. He was only sucker punched after he started the fight. And then it's him fighting Horus. He was only pretending to get his ass kicked to Horus so he would drop his guard. But basically, yeah, Lehman Ross gets this huge credit for going around and being the Emperor's executioner, but he kind of just sucks.
This is good.
Yeah.
As a Space Wolves fan, this is still really good.
Agreed. I'll drink to that.
That's funny.
I love it. Yeah. Here's a fucking hell. Memes. You don't want to go down the meme path too loud, but yeah, that is Angron. He's ready for heresy now. His legion has been prepped for surgery. They're off the operating tables. They're back and better than ever, ready for more violence than they can handle.
Man.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of betrayal and tragedy. We talked about like the believability of Angron, the tragedy of it, and like he just really doesn't get a good hand, and he doesn't have a way out with the butcher's nails. He's kind of just doomed from the start, and like, yeah, killing your mentor, that sucks. Then you think you're gonna get saved by your father, and then he doesn't, and that sucks. That's a huge betrayal. And then like even his own mind essentially is betraying him. He can't rely on his thoughts and all that kind of stuff. It's just everything's a betrayal.
Yeah. The planets that these Primarchs land on determine so much. Like it really is like you're screwed from the get-go. Like what was the highest point that Angron could reach landing on Nuceria? Like,
yeah,
that was it. I mean, the best he could do, because he's not going to be raised, by some diplomat and like, okay, this is how we conduct war and all that. Like, no, we saw that you slaughtered all of these Xenos. Great, we have a use for you. Yeah, and you've got nothing, so we're going to make you fight. Like he was screwed from the get-go just by landing on that planet. His future was sealed. There was no better option than what he had, which unless it was death in the beginning, which is unfortunate.
And it just highlights too, like the kind of shit that Big E puts him through too, because when we get to Corvus Corax and his origin story, dude was I will say this, dude was also a slave just like Angron, but Big E took a completely different direction with him versus when he just yeeted Angron from Nuceria and just treated him like broken trash.
Yeah. Vengeful Toasty says this, and this is a great point. If Angron would have been taken in by a high rider as opposed to like the slavers, he would have ended up just like Gilliman. Maybe a little more brutal, maybe.
More brutal, but
I don't know. I still don't. Maybe. His value is war. His value is battle. Like Gilliman's a tactician, diplomat, all that stuff. Yes, he is a warrior, but the high riders, the way this world has been described, I just don't see it being like, yes, we can place him in a good position of power where he'll be a fucking general, he'll be a warrior, he will be used. He will be used at some point. Like, that world doesn't allow, Nuceria doesn't allow for peace.
Yeah, like so they've reached that point almost where it's like, the only way to like hold it together is through violence or through just sacrificing their own sin.
Societal violence is holding that planet together. I mean, because
and,
again, it was the disparity of upper class to lower class, huge.
And do you want me to do that quote, Mark?
Yeah, if you got a quote.
Okay, this, and for context, this is during the heresy, so it'll be the next Angron episode technically, but this is Angron really just railing on Gilliman during the heresy when they're fighting each other. And also, I was instructed to give him a vaguely Eastern European accent when voicing him, just Fair warning. What would you know of struggle, perfect son? When have you fought against the mutilation of your mind? When have you had to do anything more than tally compliances and polish your armor? The people of your world named you Great One. The people of mine called me slave. Which one of us landed on a paradise of civilization to be raised by a foster father, Rabute? Which one of us was given armies to lead after training in the halls of the Macragian High Riders? Which one of us inherited a strong, cultured kingdom? And which one of us had to rise up against a kingdom with nothing but a horde of starving slaves? Which one of us was a child enslaved on a world of monsters, with his brain cut up by carving knives? Listen to your blue-clad wretches yelling courage and honor, courage and honor, courage and honor! Do you even know the meaning of those words? Courage is fighting the kingdom which enslaves you, no matter that their armies outnumber yours by 10,000 to 1. You know nothing of courage. Honor is resisting a tyrant when all others suckle and grow fat on the hypocrisy he feeds them. You know nothing of honor.
Fucking great quote. Yeah, that really speaks a lot of his personality, like that honor, that loyalty, like how he sees everyone else. Like he's definitely got a victim mentality because it kind of fucking is. He had no choice in having his brain cut up. It just is. I got another great quote here that kind of goes in like this, like Angron chastising other Primarchs here. I'll try to do your accent as well. You kept that mule Corferion. Russ kept his kin friends. The lion kept Luther, human. Brothers and I can't do it. Saved and raised into Legion ranks. But not me, not Angron, no. Did the Emperor teleport his gold-wrapped custodians down to help me in my army? No. Did he free the War Hounds and order them to battle, fight alongside me? No. Did he save my brothers and sisters the way he spared and honored the lion's closest kin? The way he honored Corferion? No, no, and no. No mercy for Angron. Angron the Oathbreaker. Angron the Betrayer. He also likes to talk in third person, so that's kind of fun about him. Maybe not fully third person, but yeah, he's been dealt a bad hand and he realizes it. And yeah, you can be like one of those nice monks where it's like even if everything's stripped away from you, you can still be positive. But like the fucking brain implants, man, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two quotes are like, yeah, they're really kind of make you feel for the poor guy.
Yeah, it's tragic for sure.
Yeah.
We have this little bit on the personality, but I feel like we kind of get it. Like,
if you don't get it at this point, like,
yeah,
I don't know, man.
What are you up to?
I'm siding with him in many ways.
Honestly, I just, yeah, I can't get there with a lot of Primarchs. Like, how did you get to chaos? Like, but yeah, him, it just makes sense, man.
Yeah. Like, I have nothing else to say other than I get it. Totally.
Yeah. Vengeful Tosi says, read the books. They're immaculate. Yeah, I give the authors quite a hard time at GW. I'm not a good author myself, and I sometimes give them some shit. But they have some fucking killer quotes and just kind of great concepts and all that. Like, clearly they're doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
His appearance. Joe, do you want to read that real quick?
Sure. Angron was a vision of barely contained violence, even at rest. His transhuman physique was massive and corded with scar tissue, every muscle hard-earned through slavery, rebellion, and endless combat. Old wounds crisscrossed his ash-pale skin, some ritual, some careless, many inflicted by chains and blades long before he even knew the stars. The butcher's nails jutted from his skull like crude iron thorns, their cabling burrowed deep into flesh and bone, pulsing faintly as if alive. His face was perpetually drawn tight with pain and fury, teeth often bared in an animal snarl, eyes burning with a hate that never truly slept. Even standing still, Angron radiated menace and misery in equal measure, a caged predator whose suffering was etched into every breath. And like I would like to point out too that like there was like it is said multiple times that each Primarch like radiates this aura that's like real that's picked up on by both mortal and especially like their gene sons. And it was very telling that like the world eaters just sensed like just pain and hatred from him. Armored, Angron became something closer to a living engine of war than a man. Encased in his brutal power armor, he loomed like a crimson god of slaughter, plate scarred, cracked, and darkened by the blood of 100 worlds. The armor did not civilize him, it amplified him, turning his already monstrous form into an unstoppable juggernaut of rage and iron. Chain blades and axes seemed small in his grasp, reduced to extensions of his wrath later rather than tools. With the nails screaming and the armor howling as it fed him combat data, Angron was no longer merely present on the battlefield. He dominated it. To see him advance was to witness inevitability, a red tide given shape, a tragic angel of war whose every step promised violence and whose presence alone heralded annihilation.
Yeah, cool.
Some
He's
say
got such
Gerald
great-
did annihilation.
Yeah. Yeah, his armor looks so tight, man.
Yeah, it's
Like,
rad.
Yeah, for sure. His armor is called the armor of Mars. And there's nothing too crazy. Like it's not super modified. Like it's not like he's always upgrading it. It's functional for sure. He also has the Widowmaker, which was the precursor to all his other chain axes that Angron would use throughout his life. It was destroyed by Lyman Russ. He also has Brazen Tooth, which was a massive two-handed chain axe. It was so large that only Primarch could wield it with any result, and it was forged in obsidian and brass. And it's half wrapped in the skin of a monstrous lizard.
Sweet.
Yeah, pretty cool. Just a giant fucking axe. He also has Gore Father and Gore Child, two more axes, chain axes that he likes. Yeah, he has Split Furnace, which is a plasma pistol. That's pretty fun. The Butcher's Nails as well. That is part of his war gear. You know that's him. He is the nails now. Good for him.
And it is worth mentioning because I was like, wait, doesn't Karn have Gorechild? He does. Yeah, so Karn is the one wielding Gorechild now.
Yeah, that does get passed on. During the heresy, that kind of gets passed on and all that. But right now, Angron's firmly grasping it. Yeah, that's kind of his war gear. You know, he'll pick up a table and hit you over the head with it. He don't care much, but he definitely likes his chain axes.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing to kind of mention about is like this new little phase of lore with Gerald. You mentioned it, him being a empath, a psychic empath. And I feel like, man, that's definitely new. And I get what they're up to. Like, it does make the story a little more like, oh, man, that's super sad. Every gladiator he kills, he feels. But I feel like it's just a lot and not necessary. And when I was reading it, it kind of took me out of it. I'm like, oh, man, that's just kind of like, that's too many layers of like, okay, come on. But like, it just seems so tossed in. Like, why would you need an empath general in the first place, like empath military leader? Like, I don't know. I just kind of not fully vibing, but I love the rest of it.
I like the idea. I just don't. And I haven't read too much of it, but it seems like it's not well executed. That it's like this dichotomy of like, oh man, he's horrible, but he's also an empath. Like it doesn't push and pull you enough. It's just kind of like, oh, it's there.
And it comes and goes so quickly because he gets those butcher nails pretty quick. So it's like we don't even get to see that half of that empath thing. So it's like just one of those things they threw in. I felt like that, but But the rest of it, man, you really feel for it. And whether the Emperor's motivation was the planet was already coming into compliance or whatever, like it happened, it messed up Angron, and he's out for blood.
Yeah, so the next time you guys see Angron on the table and you're playing your buddy and you're like, I'm going to go kill that big fucking demon Primarch, just think, he once had feelings.
Yeah.
And if
And
you
if
kill him,
you're-
he's going to maybe come back. You got to roll to see if he comes back, which is fucking
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I like that. But
Yeah. And if you're a papa and you don't want to create an Angron, just go hug your child and say I love you. You want to play catch or go swimming or something? Like it's not tough. As a parent myself, I find the more time I put into my child, the better that child will be. So maybe the Emperor will learn a lesson from old Marquino, but not
yeah.
likely.
And the classic, like, you'll understand later is bullshit. Like, don't do that. Like, just try and talk to somebody. Try and talk to, like, oh, you'll understand when you get older.
My kid's just starting to like really grasp like words, and like it's fun watching somebody grow. And yeah, if the Emperor just took that time. No, Angron, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's all good. It's the way she goes.
Yeah.
We got more Angron in the next coming episodes. You know, his story gets more crazy. He's one of the coolest Primarchs, man, because he's always around, even like before the Primarchs start coming back in 40K. Like he makes many appearances throughout the 10,000 year timeline. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty fun guy always. He had rules way back in the day too, even before like he had rules in 6th edition Angron did, which was pretty wild. It's a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, he's an easy I don't want to say that. He is a complex character in the origins, but he's an easy one to write rules for. He's an easy one to represent on the table. Like, I feel like he's a character that does really well for the game because in this stage of who he is, he's kind of obvious. Right?
Yeah.
Like writing rules for Angron and representing him on the table seems any of us could do it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take a bloodthirster and just make him a little more beefy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. The butcher's nails definitely sound like they suck. I'm glad they made it so graphic. Like, really just brutal hammers into the skulls. Just no good.
Yeah. Pretty horrible.
Yeah. Any other thoughts from you boys?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ponder.
Equal parts, like the easiest Primarch to get, but also like when you peel back the layers of just how tragic this all is. Like, I don't know. It's just
there's a lot of points too where like redemption could have happened or the path could have ended, and it just kind of just kept escalating further and further. So
yeah. I've got surgery scheduled next week. I'm getting my sinuses fixed because I can never breathe properly. But I'm going to have fun and pretend that I'm getting the butcher's nails implanted as they so maybe every now, like I've had surgery 2 or 3 times now. And I just think it's funny, like when they put you under the thing, like if I can hold on enough to like say some funny one-liner under the gas, just make sure whatever you do, don't ever, and then like I pass out, under anesthesia. Maybe I'll make some like Angron comment to the anesthesiologist. She's like, "Is this for the butcher's nails?" And then just they'll be like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
What the hell? Gas hit him weird.
Yeah.
Why does he have a bunch of teeth in his pocket? What is happening?
Hey, it'd be better than me. The one time I went under anesthesia, I was given the laughing gas, so I was just giggling like the fucking Joker. And then I just go, "I'm sleepy."
Yeah.
Just knock out.
Oh man, court assaults 3 people, Giving him surgery as he wakes up. And the teeth collection grows for him.
If it'll be anything like the
damn.
first time I had anesthesia from my wisdom teeth being pulled out, all I did was make a ton of weird Lord of the Rings references after I was out. I don't know why.
All right, well, you give me a call. We'll podcast that. That sounds great.
That would be hilarious.
Fucking tight. Oh, man. That's a different type of high hammer if you can get a hold of that kind of.
Ooh, that's the good juice.
Yeah, that kind of juice. But well, until then, I guess go do whatever makes you angry in life and enjoy until the next time. Start building that rage meter up, and then next episode we can just unleash it. Because it gets pretty fun. So thanks for listening. Come listen to Lorehammer listener lore. There's a whole bunch of homebrew listener lore out there that we've read and talked and all that kind of stuff. So have fun. Enjoy Vengeful Toasty.
No, Toasty, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Don't give in to the anger.
Oh my god.
Use your anger.
I just have to say, we've talked about Angron. I have to shout out one of my best friends, Tyler, who is the least angry person I've ever seen in my life. This man, I don't think I've ever seen like angry or yell or anything like that. He's like Gerald on a Xanax. Like he's just
damn.
But he's just really chilling. He's just kind of like, yeah, all right, we'll play some more Hammer. Cool. All right, how you doing? All right, sweet. And he plays Angron. He puts Angron. He's World Eaters. He's a World Eaters player. He is all like, but I've never seen this guy angry. And at some point, I'm just hoping that like it just clicks one day, and he just like, you know what? It just.
You know what? I'm flipping this table. That was not a good dice roll.
But it's so he's the World Eaters player in our play group, in our community, and he's the sweetest guy ever. So Tyler, much love. So funny.
Yeah, I hope you don't snap one day, Tyler.
But if you do, I want to see it.
But if we do, now we have recorded that you could be that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. We all live vicariously through our World Eaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well said there, Vengeful. All right, well, we'll see you all on the next episode. Adios.